Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming here today. And before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. And I would like to pay my respect to elders past and present. I hope you all are seated comfortably. If you can come forward, sir, it's fine. People who are seated in back. How are you all today? Good? Yeah. Busy day today? Warm day, right? Yeah, it was a warm day, I know. And when you're wearing the robes,
Yeah, must be really warm.
Yeah, it's really warm. Okay, I'd like to ask a question from you. What is the purpose of this clock? Time.
Yes.
What is the purpose? Why this clock has been made by someone? Why?
To measure time. To measure time.
To measure time, right? To see time, to check time. Okay. What is the purpose of your life then? I don't know, right?
Past
What is the purpose of your life? If I ask you a question, that question more, like if I elaborate it, what is the purpose of your mind actually?
Hopefully not to keep time.
Not to keep time, yeah. The purpose of your mind is actually to perceive what's actually happening in the outside, isn't it? What's actually happening, what's going on in the outside. The mind is not there to suffer. Mind is not there to be stressed. Your mind is there to perceive what's actually going on in the outside, and then take the decision. What you're doing is taking the decision based on what's happening in the outside, don't you? Dear ladies and gentlemen, the stress and anxiety is something that manifests in your minds. It's because that mind doesn't know what is the purpose of the mind. Yes, I will explain everything. I'll explain everything. I know you have a lot of questions. Today's session, I'm not going to tell you instant, like 2-minute noodle, like quick solution for stress and anxiety. I'm going to explain to you the underlying mechanism, the sublime mechanism that actually happens inside the mind, inside your mind, that generates stress and anxiety, that generates the negative emotions, feelings like irritation, annoyed, the feeling that you have. Right? So we are going to find a solution, permanent solution. We are not going to find something to patch over it for a short while. I know that people are talking about managing the stress and anxiety, navigating stress and anxiety. But what Buddha has discovered to this world back in 2,500 years ago, he found a method. He found the way that mind works. All these 57 books, the Pali context, Pali textbooks, that describes about the science of the mind. What actually happens within you, what actually happens, what's going on within you. That's what they are. Thanks to my teachers, Thanks to my teachers that I found, who guided me actually, I found what Buddha has discovered. And I want to transfer that wisdom to all of you. I want you to get that wisdom. And I want to establish that wisdom within your minds. Because I was exactly with you just literally 2 years ago. In 2022 April, I left this country to get into robe. I was a scientist, as Karna said. I was a scientist at Australian National University, and I worked as a biochemistry research fellow, and my wife, late-time wife, ex-wife, actually, she worked as a research scientist at TGA, Therapeutic Good Administration. So we both left the country because I want to help everyone. I wanted to help everyone. I want you to understand what's actually going on within you. Because tell me something like this. Okay. When you buy something that you don't know, like how to operate it, right? When you buy something to your kitchen, let's say a blender or something, what do you have in the kitchen? Rice cooker, or no, the pressure cooker, the multi cooker, right? Whatever, name it, right? And if you don't know how to operate it, what do? Read the manual. Exactly, sir. Read the manual, right? You have been using this instrument called mind since you were born. Have you read the manual? Huh? Have you read the manual, sir? Madam? Have you read the manual? No. You have been using this instrument to perceive what's actually happening in the outside, and you don't know what's actually going on within you. Isn't it? Do you know? That's the root cause of suffering. That's the root cause of stress and anxiety. That's the root cause of depression. Because you don't know who you are. So today, let's find out who you are, right? Let's find out what's going on within you. Let's find out what actually happens within your mind. Because that's the way to liberate yourself, to eliminate yourself from anxiety, stress and anxiety permanently. Are we ready? Yes. Yes. Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen. Can you bring them? Yes. Let's go to kindergarten. Yeah, thank you. Oh, this is okay. I have a lot of things that children are playing, right? You might be wondering why I bought them. Yeah, let's see. Anyway. So, from here onwards, I want you to do two things. I invite you to do two things. One is, everything that I am explaining to you, please apply in your lab of life. What is the lab of life? You have all your experiences that you have in your life, right? This is completely a practical session that I'm going to tell you, that I'm going to do. What you have to do is, remember when you're studying at school, what did you do? You learn from the teacher, right? You listen to the teacher. You listen to teacher, and then he or she explained everything to you, and you wrote down everything. And then what happened? Then you went to lab, the science lab, and then you did the experiment to prove what that teacher had told you is true or not. Right? Okay. From here onwards, in this session, your lab and your lecture hall, both of them are in this very room. What you have to do is, you have to go back to your memories, grab them all, whatever you get into your memories, right? Please apply the concept that I'm going to explain to you with those experiments, with those experiences, and then comprehend and understand and reflect what I'm going to explain to you. That's the way to understand, that's the way to realize the reality, that's the way to internalize the wisdom, that's the way to find out what's actually happening within you. Right? And the second thing is, how many people are there? 10, 15, 20? From here onwards, how many people are here? Only 2 people exist in this room. You and me only. Maybe you came with one of your friends and you know your daughter or someone. Doesn't matter. Because you are alone with me. You will be alone with me, and we both are analyzing the life experiences that you had with the new point of view, the new light of wisdom. Am I getting afraid? I'm right? No, right? So be cool. Don't worry. Don't get stressed because of what I'm saying. Anyway, so as I ask you, there's a purpose of this clock, right? To see the time. The purpose of you alive as a human being, we don't know. What we are doing is womb to tomb. We are running after material possessions. We are running after contentment. We are running after happiness. We are running after what? Always seeking something that you don't have. Isn't it? When you woke up in the morning, what do you do? Until you go to bed, you are trying to find the happiness. You are in a quest of happiness. Right? Agree? You want to content. You want to be happy. That's what you're doing. Everything that you're doing, right? You want to do something new to be happy, and after you achieve that, you set another goal and you start another business, and then you involve with that business, and after you finish that business, then what you do? You set another goal, and then you achieve. At the end of the life, what happened to you? It's like a snake and ladder game. Do you remember that you played the snake and ladder game? Right? When you climb up, right? At the end of the final box, you have a huge snake, right? That resets you into the number 1 box, 0. This is what's going to happen to your life. Because I worked as a volunteer in aged care center in Canberra. I witnessed from my naked eye how these people dying at their dying breath, dear ladies and gentlemen, they are suffering. They are suffering because they wanted to be happy, they wanted to be content. Always grass is green on the other side, isn't it? Don't you have this experience in your life? Always you set up another goal and you achieve it. Because we don't know what's actually going on within us. How do you feel the happiness? How do you feel the satisfaction? We don't know We don't have an idea. And because of that, you're always on fire. You're always on fire. You're always under stress. Are you agree with me? Because you are seeking something each and every moment. That's what your life, that's what you're doing from morning to night. You never get satisfied. At the end of the life, you will never get satisfied as well. Okay, let's see how this stress and anxiety builds up within you. Okay. Tell me, what are the situations you get the stress and anxiety? What are the situations you get stressed? When you have huge workload, when you have commitments,
Not having enough time.
don't have enough time, yeah. And if you're rushing to a meeting in the morning, you're stuck in the traffic light, right? You're trying to find the shortest possible pathway, right? You're complaining about the traffic and you get stressed, isn't it? And what else?
Things that are not,
Financial, right?
not within your control.
Yeah. When you don't have control of things that you want to be controlled.
Worried about your children's well-being.
Yeah, children's well-being. If you're working from home, right? It's a huge stress, isn't it?
Hopefully the internet works so you can have a meeting.
Yeah. What happened to the day that Optus went down? It influenced your life, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Dear ladies and gentlemen, the stress and anxiety builds in your life, builds in your mind. Because you always have a reason there. Let's say you have huge workload, right? You're saying, because of the huge workload, I'm stressed. That's what you can understand. That's what you feel. Isn't it? Because of the huge workload, and you're running out of time, and because of that, now you get stressed, and you're anxious about that. Now you have anxiety builds up. You want to find a solution. What are you doing? Counting 1 to 10, 10 to 1, and do a small meditation.
Do mantras.
Hmm?
Some mantras. Do some mantras.
Yeah, mantras. So, you have two options. One is to tolerate it and do some action to get rid of it. Isn't it? When you get stress and anxiety, you can do two things. One is to tolerate, and one is to do some action to distract that. Tolerate means you have to. It's very painful. Tolerate, right? You have no option. Okay, tolerate, yes. And when you go over the limit, then what happens? You get angry about everyone in your workplace. Don't you have that kind of experience? Yes. Now I want you to go back to your memories and recall them. This is what we are doing is an experiment. Now we are experimenting this, right? We are analyzing. So doing some actions to get rid of the stress and anxiety. But dear ladies and gentlemen, you all are humans. Even animals do both of them when they get stressed, right? Either they tolerate or they do something else to get rid of that. But you all are humans. You have a mind, human mind, which has an incredible capacity, ability to reflect about the mind itself. That is the difference between animal and a human. You have a capacity to understand what's going on within you. Dog doesn't have that ability. What they do? They bark. Right? There's a Sanskrit sloka, Ahara Nidra Bhayamaitu Nancha, Samanya Metat Pashubhir Narana, Dharmo Hitesha Madhika Vishesho, Dharmena Hina Pashubhih Samana. What does that mean? Eating, drinking, sleeping, having sex and getting afraid, stress, anxiety, are common for both humans and animals. This is not Buddhism, this is from Sanskrit, the Vedic books. And it says that ability to bear what actually happens within you is a special ability that humans have, but animals don't have that. Animals don't have to think about themselves, what's going on within me. Do they have? No. But you have. You all have that. That's why you'll be able to listen to this talk and reflect and apply this concept within your mind. That's why you came here. All the merits that you have done in your life, good deeds that you have done, brings you here, brought you here. Okay? So, what people do is, they are trying to find a solution to manage this huge workload. Right? To get rid of the stress and anxiety, to get rid of the negative feeling, the irritating feeling that you have, annoyance. They are trying to find a solution for the workload. Yes, of course, you have to find a solution for the workload. You have to do something. But dear ladies and gentlemen, the stress and anxiety builds within your mind not because of you have huge workload. But without a guidance, without a teacher, without understanding the mind, without understanding what Buddha has discovered to this world, you won't be able to find it out. So this is the science of the mind that I'm going to explain to you. If I explain you with an example, so it's like this. Imagine there's a water flow, right? Someone is adding a pink color, red color. Because the pink one is not working. The red color pigments to this water flow from the upper area. What will happen? What will happen to the water flow when you look at from here? It will turn red, right? Then you will say, red color water is flowing. Right? You will say red color water. You can see that red color water is flowing, isn't it? Agree? Yes. Okay. The water flow turns to red color. Now, if you closely inspect this, you will see there are two processes happening. Red color pigments also flowing, and water is also flowing. Do you agree or not? There are two processes happening. Red color pigments are flowing, and water is also flowing. But when you look at from distance, you will notice, red color, water is red. Actually, water is not red. There are two processes happening. Agree? Right. The stress and anxiety and the reason, huge workload. When you look at this from the distance, you feel because of the workload you have stress and anxiety. You get them together. You feel them together. Okay? But dear ladies and gentlemen, the stress and anxiety develops in your mind from a different process. This is hidden process that you won't be able to understand. You won't be able to recognize by yourself without guidance of a teacher. That's why Buddha is Buddha. That's why Buddha has to complete these perfections from eons and eons to find out about the mind itself. Because Buddha enlightened by himself. He found what's going on within him alone. But we have his teaching, so we don't have to worry, because what we have to follow is, what we have to do is find out someone who understood that, right? And then learn that. So this is the process. This is what happened. This is what is happening to you. This is the natural process. Natural process means the workload you have to do is something that you have to do, right? I mean, it's not under your control, because when you're working in somewhere, right? Let's say your boss is asking you to, your boss is giving you, huge lot of the pile of work, right? You have to finish this and this and this and this within this time frame. And you say, dear boss, I don't have time. This is too much for me. And then he says, you're now complaining about the workload, but when you're writing this selection criteria, right? When you apply to this job, you say that I can tolerate any amount of work, and I have worked this much, I have done this much of work within that company and this company. Now your boss is giving you some workload like that you cannot tolerate. It's fine. So this is, you don't have control here. This is what you have to find a solution, right? But when you have this idea in your mind, the stress builds up. You started to feel negative emotions, irritating feelings. And these feelings are actually manifested in your mind due to another process. What is this process? Let's explore it. Right? Are we on the same page now? Right? This is something similar to this. This is an example. You won't recognize at distance. You see, red color water is flowing. Similar to here. Stress and anxiety because of this. At the natural water flow is still flowing. But dear ladies and gentlemen, Even though someone adds the pigment from the upper water, right? The pigments cannot flow without the water, right? The water has to be there to flow the pigments. Do you agree? Yes. So, stress and anxiety won't manifest in your mind without this as well. That is true. That is what you feel, right? But this is not the solution. This is not the root cause. Okay, in order to explain this, I'm going to do a magic. Abracadabra. Are you ready? Can you see a flame here? Are you sure? I can see a flame. Maybe. Can you see a flame here? No. Okay, now, am I allowed to? Okay. Now can you see a flame? Yes. So this is very practical, right? I'm doing practical class here. I'm not doing a sermon actually. I don't know how to do a sermon. Right. Now think about this. Is there a fixed flame? Is there a fixed flame? In your perception, you feel there's a flame. Right? Right? That's what you feel. You feel there's a flame. What is the flame? Here, this is the flame. See? This is the flame, right? Right? Is it fixed? Or is there a process?
Depends.
Explain.
Depends how you look on the flame.
Yes. Depends how you look into the flame. But I'm asking what is actually happening here. What is actually happening here?
It's a process.
It's completely a process because the wax and the temperature, oxygen, cotton thread, and of course my hand and this flow, everything comes together. All the causes come together to manifest this effect called what? Flame. So flame is not a fixed entity, isn't it? Are we clear? Flame is not a fixed entity, it's a process. Even though you feel that it's a fixed entity in your mind, but if you're closely looking into this, you will find that it's actually a process. All the carbon atoms, right? It's burning, right? That's how it generates this yellow color, the flame, right? There's a process continuously happening right now at the moment. Okay? So what happened to the flame? Did it go somewhere? From that door? The process stopped. The process ceased. Good point. But in your perception, what you feel is the flame is gone. You feel that the entity is no longer there. Is that entity is no longer there, or that process stopped manifesting? the manifestation stops, isn't it? What did I do? Did I remove all the causes? No. I only removed one cause. Only one cause. What did I remove? The temperature. Because of the wind, I reduced the temperature. Right? When I removed one cause, it stops manifestation of the flame. Agree? Right. Now, dear ladies and gentlemen, what you have to understand here is the stress and anxiety you feel is actually not a fixed entity in your mind. This is also manifesting due to causes. There will be zillions of causes to generate the stress and anxiety. Do you want to find out everything? No. You can spend your whole lifetime finding the causes. Right? You don't have to find out all the causes. What you have to do is here, you need to understand this is a process happening within you. It's not something fixed. It's not something that you have. It's not something that you own. It's not something that you have to cope up with then. You feel that when you have stress, it's going to be with you forever, isn't it? When you feel stress, that's why now I want you to get the experiences, because now I don't know whether you are now under stress here, right? Because you are in the Buddhist library, maybe, who knows? But the thing is, when you get stressed, right, you feel that this stressful feeling, the stressful condition is going to be with you forever. Don't you have this? Right? But actually, that is not the case. When the right causes are there, when the right environment is encountering, the stress and anxiety start manifesting. And if you remove one of the causes, then what happens? It won't be there. Agree? Because even though, right, I got rid of the temperature, the wax was there, oxygen was there, and my hand and cotton thread, everything was there, isn't it? You don't have to remove all the causes. That's why you don't have to study causes. What you have to understand is, like a one cause that you will be able to permanently remove. And if you can get rid of that cause, then you are done. Do you understand that part? And because I'm slowly explaining this, because I'm going to show you something that you never thought of. I know that. I swear to God that I did my PhD in biochemistry. And after I listening to this Dhamma talk from my teacher, then I realized, wow, I never thought of like that. He explained about the chemistry. The hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, those atoms, right? I'll show you something. Okay. The Buddha has discovered one cause that you would be able to get rid of permanently. That is, dear ladies and gentlemen, ignorance.
Always keep an open mind. Always keep yourself open-minded.
Yes, the thing is, I'll explain everything. Because like open-minded, right? Even though you be open-minded, you need to find a teacher that who can show you this. You'll be open-minded, right? But you need to find the way to get rid of the ignorance. I'll show you one by one. If I add 2 plus 2, what's the answer?
4.
No, it's 6. 2 plus 2. Definitely it's 4, right? I was joking. Right? When you analyze, like, remember those days when you were small age, you played with, I don't know how about these days kids, but those days we played with stones, right? 2 stones and then one to another stone, and when you come close to both of them, all 4 together, and you count everything, and you understood what? You understood what? 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. When you realize, when you understand that, do you want to realize it again? That 2 plus 2 is 4. No, because you know now. You know how to calculate. You know how to sum. Because once you understand the concept, once you understand the way to the sum to numbers, right? Once you understand, when you study mathematics in your school, right? When you understand how to calculate, how to solve that problem, and when you practice a couple of problems, when you solve a couple of another examples, then you understand what? Okay, this is the way to solve that mathematical equations, and that's it. After that, you don't have to understand it again because now you understand it. That's why ignorance, once you realize the reality, that's it. You're done. Because once you get rid of the ignorance, that means once you get rid of once you understand the reality, once you reflect and understand the reality, once you practice and understand that this is the way to solve the problem, this is the way to solve the mathematical equation, that's it. You're done. So that's why this would be the permanent solution to get rid of the stress and anxiety. Are we clear? Are we clear on this? Right? Still you don't know what this ignorance is. I know. But I am actually making the path. Okay? Because, dear ladies and gentlemen, one thing is, like, I spent all my life, like 35 years, nearly 33 years of studying things. And then once I realized the reality is like this, oh my God. It's liberate myself from the suffering. And then I started that journey. To experience that happiness that what Buddha has experienced. That is what we call Nibbana. Nibbana is real. Nibbana you can achieve. Nibbana is actually a state of the mind that you can achieve. The Nibbana is not the bliss is not the Nibbana. Actually, the journey to achieve Nibbana is also very enjoyable. I'm enjoying that. I want you to enjoy that. There's an ocean of love and compassion in this heart towards all of you, because I know we all are suffering, because I was exactly with you just 1.5 years ago. I want you to understand this. Okay, let's start this. What is this ignorance? So this gentleman, he gave me a car. It's a lorry. It's a car. Is it a jeep? How do you define it?
Truck.
A truck.
Okay.
Any other suggestions?
Ice cream van.
Ice cream van. Okay, nice. You, sir?
Like those ducks that go into the water. It goes on the
Wow, yeah. Okay. How about you, young lady? No idea? No, the little one, because they are playing with these things. Now get rid of the name that you given to it. Car or anything. Get rid of the name, right? I don't talk about the name that you given to it. Tell me, inside your mind, you felt that this is a single object, isn't it? Inside your mind, you felt that this is a single object. When you see this, in your perception, you felt, this is one object. And the name of that object is what? You told me ice cream. Who told me ice cream van? Ice cream van. And you told me? Truck. And someone told me, what? Yeah, duck. So I'm not telling about the name, right? But inside your mind, intuitively, you felt it's a single object. Agree? Okay, abacadabra. Now, this is the magic. Is it a single object or is it an arrangement? This is made out of Legos. What do you think, Karna? Is it a single object or is it a mixture? Is it an arrangement? Is it an arrangement? This is an arrangement. Dear ladies and gentlemen, this is an arrangement. Don't you think so? This is an arrangement. This is not a single object, even though you felt it as a single object. I'm not talking about what you perceive, right? I'm talking about what is existing outside. I'm talking about what is actually happening outside here. This is an arrangement, isn't it? Are we on the same page? Everyone agree with that? Even though you felt this is a single object, but this is an arrangement. How about this? It's a building, huh? Oh yeah, it's a house. Is it a house? Can you open the door? Yes, you can open the door. Is it a house?
It's a duck.
It's a
Everything's a duck.
A tiny house.
tiny home. See, what's the difference between home and house? Home is where your heart is. Isn't it? Your family is where your home is, isn't it? Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen, now we have to solve this problem. In your perception, you feel that this is an object, single object, but this is an arrangement as well. This is an arrangement. Do you agree? This is mixture of things, not a one thing. This is a mixture of things. You can remove one by one. Now, am I breaking the home or am I
Putting on a second story.
am I rearranging? Am I going to rearrange this? Now I am removing one piece by one piece. Where's the home now? Where's the house now? Is it a complete house or it's now part of the house? It's a part now. Actually, even though your mind perceives this as a single object, but what actually happens here is it's a mixture. How about this? What do you think? Flower? Do you see a flower? I don't know. I can see a flower. Do you know what is this? Highlighter. So a flower is illusion, isn't it? Okay. Now look at this and tell me. This is also arrangement, isn't it? Dear ladies and gentlemen, how about this whiteboard? Is it a fixed entity or is it an arrangement? Arrangement. And how about the desk? Now I'm now taking you to through a journey that you will find everything in the world, right? And how about this desk or table? Arrangement, but in your perception, in your mind, you always feel this is one object, isn't it? We label that as one object. You can give any name. I'm not telling that you don't have, what you are giving, the name is the problem. Naming is the problem. I'm not telling naming. I'm not telling that problem is the naming. But inside your mind, you perceive it as collectively one entity. One entity. If you look at these books, is it single entity or is it a multiple pages? It's arrangement. Those are arrangement. The bookshelf is itself. You feel like this bookshelf, right? One entity. Is it one entity or is it an arrangement again? Arrangement. How about this carpet? You can see millions of threads, right? But remember, inside your heart, inside your soul, inside your mind, you always perceive what? Entity. But what actually happens in the outside? What is there? Arrangement. Even these clothes? Arrangement. How about the atoms? Hydrogen. Electrons, proton, neutron arrangement. Helium. I'm a chemist, right? Electron, proton. Do you know? Still I feel that I'm a scientist. Right? I do feel as I'm a scientist. Why? Because my lab is not in the outside now. Those days I worked with bacteria, viruses and proteins. I worked with COVID and blah, blah, blah. But now I'm working with my mind. My lab is with me. Where I go, I can take my lab. Right? I can write the publication. I can publish within my mind. I can publish in a good journal as well. Just kidding. Right? So helium, electron, proton, neutron arrangement. Is it a fixed entity called helium or is it arrangement? Arrangement. Dear ladies and gentlemen, the 8-2, that is also arrangement, isn't it? But when you perceive, you feel what? This is 8? Is it 8 or is it a combination of LED, the combination, right? Even. So today when I came through this M2 or M7, whatever, the motorway, you can see, that the variable signs, 80, 100, when you come closer, you will find that actually it's not a one light. What is there? What? How do you perceive? 80. In your perception, you're always fixing. You always feel there's an entity there called 80, but it is not there. It is a mixture. It is an arrangement. Agree or not? Yes. All these elements in the periodic table, even though they say hydrogen is something different, hydrogen is fixed entity hydrogen, and then helium is a fixed entity helium. But all hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, name it, everything are arrangements of electron, proton, neutrons. Agree? This is an arrangement of electron, proton, neutrons. This is an arrangement of electron, proton, neutrons, even though you can't see through your naked eye. This is also an arrangement. What's wrong with our mind then? This is the story. So we don't have to study all the courses, right? We are going to get rid of the ignorance in the mind. Shall I? That's why I raised this. Right? How do you perceive this workload? Is it an arrangement or is it a workload? Is a huge workload, means that fixed entity, that's good, that's huge thing that you have lot of, like, it's an arrangement or is it a one thing when you perceive? The workload means like, I have that much of workload. You don't feel it as a process. You always feel inside your mind, I have to do this, all these things. Do you agree or not? Dear ladies and gentlemen, that is why you started feeling this anxiety, stress, because you see them as one entity, all collectively. You have to do everything at once. You don't have to do at once. But when you think about that, the weight in your mind get increased because of what? Now you get, I have to do all these things. See? You feel them as an entity. You don't feel them as like different, like you cannot look them segregatedly. You always feel that everything I have to do. The same person have to do everything. Do you agree or not? Because your mind always perceive what? You want to perceive as entities. Inside your mind, there's the deep process happening inside your mind each and every time. Even though I explain this as the mixture, but inside your mind you always feel what? Entity. The huge workload. So I have huge workload. The huge workload is what you feel as entity. And you started to feel that I have. You truly have to face this huge workload. Now you're giving a weight on this. One thing. Dear ladies and gentlemen, there's no one thing here. It's a process. Your boss is not asking you to do everything at once. You cannot do everything at once. When you look at closely, what you have to do sequentially, this and this and this and the next and this, then the weight that you feel get reduced. Do you have this experience or not? For example, I can remember back in the days, like, this happened to me when I was in grade 1, right? When I looked at the grade 2, grade 2 classes, I felt, I don't want to go there because they are doing very advanced things. I don't want to learn them. I don't want to go there because I felt stress. And imagine when you are thinking about doing a PhD, right? While you are studying undergrad, you feel the weight, right? Oh, PhD. See the pressure, see the stress builds within you because now you think PhD as one entity. But when you closely analyze what is PhD, day by day you are actually following a set of research that you have to follow and you have to do, conduct. Slowly you are going forward. You have to set up a question, right? Hypothesis, and then start doing research. And you slowly, one by one, you are solving that problem. Imagine when you think about Great Wall in China. Wow, what a big, huge thing. But do you know, it was made by one stone and one stone and by one stone. It's also an arrangement, isn't it? Your mind doesn't want to perceive them as mixtures because you always want to experience entities. Everyone in this world, humans, everyone, every living being suffer because the mind has this problem. What is the problem? The mind wants to perceive everything as one entity, even though you still, when I show you this, you still feel entity. And then, mixture. I want to give an example how to understand this. Think about mirage. Haven't you seen mirage? Mirage, when you go desert, Uluru, right? Yeah? Have you been there? Because I know my life in Canberra, I started 2015, I came to Australia, and after second week I arrived here, I started going everywhere. I think we didn't stay at home during Saturdays and Sundays. Those days I can remember, we are calculating how much we spend after 2 weeks because of the speed fines. Because you are getting them after 2 weeks, right? So I've been there, Uluru, so that's why I told you. So when you see them, the desert, right, you can see water is there, right? If you know that this is a mirage, still you can see water to your eyes, but do you think that you will see that water is there? Inside your perception, you can see water, but you don't feel that water is there because you know that's a mirage. Do you understand that? Okay? You can see the pen, but you know there's no one entity there. Still you can see the pen, but you know it's an arrangement. Similar to the mirage, similar to the example that I given to you. You can see water is there, but you know water is not there. If you know it's a mirage, if you know the process of process of manifesting a water there, if you know that this is not a lake, this is actually a mirage, then you won't get deceived, isn't it? Dear ladies and gentlemen, that is the ignorance in the mind. Mind is vexed. This minding process inside your mind, inside your brain, the mind that you have, that process gets vexed to experience entities. But when you realize your problem as segregated, when you segregate your problem, when you analyze them sequentially, okay, this and this, and when you think about it as a process, then you won't get stressed, because you will find then still you have to find the solution. I'm not telling you that you don't have to find a solution, right? You have to find a way to manage your workload. But I'm telling the stress and anxiety is not there because of the workload, because you perceive this workload as entities. A one entity, a single entity. If you perceive it as a process, or if you perceive it as a process or mixture, if you can see that it's a sequential thing, and then you won't feel that much of weight within your mind. Dear ladies and gentlemen, this is the path that I'm practicing. I'll show you how you felt this. It's something very funny. Ignorance is something, an idea, isn't it? Ignorance is idea, right? I have 15 minutes, so I'll try to finish within this 15 minutes. Ignorance is an idea, right? For example, let's say all of you know each other, right? Let's say that gentleman sitting in the back, the lady, then I'm saying, oh, be careful with her because she is actually very nasty, and when you're interacting with her, be careful. If you trust me, if you know me very well, right? If like we all are friends, then how do you feel when she approach you? Yes, hello. Now you are very cautious about interacting with her, isn't it? Because why? Why do you feel that? Because of that idea that you have. Your friend gave that idea. Your friend indoctrinated you with that idea, and now you start to feel what? I should be very careful. For example, dear ladies and gentlemen, when I visited France, one of my friends who was with me in here, he told me, when you get down in France, right, be careful. You have to protect your purse. There are a lot of thieves out there, right? You have to be very careful. You know, that is, what is that? Charles de Gaulle, that's the airport, right? Right? Yes. Oh my God. I can remember my wife, the ex-wife, and we both later wife, and we both very furious, very afraid, because and we were we were scanning everyone. We felt like we are now in a hell, right? I mean, nothing happened to us. Nothing happened to us. Now we feel what? Oh, we have to be very cautious. Even at the train, I can remember we were checking always my purse. And I remember I had the pouch, in the belt pouch, right? I was checking, it's there. I always touching my tummy because to check the pouch is there, right? So what happened to me? because of that idea that I had, now I started to feel what? Anxious, stress. Dear ladies and gentlemen, your perception always gets influenced by the idea that you have. Your perception always gets influenced by the ideas that you have. Similarly, you have an idea that you can experience fixed, unique entities. You have this idea with you. And because of that idea, in your perception, when you perceive something, you always feel what? There's a fixed entity. This is similar to that your friend said, what? If you go to France, be careful. There are a lot of thieves. Now you are very cautious. You feel anxious about that. Right? Now imagine same thing happen here. Because of the idea that you have that you can experience fixed, unique entities. Dear ladies and gentlemen, you have an attachment to experience fixed entity. But we never thought that we have done something like that. You don't know, I know. I didn't know that as well. But when I realized, when I practiced this path, then slowly I understood, actually yes, my teacher is right. Because even though this is, you can still, how do you perceive? You know that this is an arrangement, but inside your intuitively, you feel that this is an entity. You cannot stop thinking like that. That's why it says, the thoughts are not according to where you want. The thoughts are according to the God's will. Because you have this idea that you have inside your deeper and deeper in your mind. Because of that idea, you started to feel what? Fixed entities, fixed things, unique entities. That's why when I light up this candle, you said what? There's a flame. Is it a flame or is it a process? It was a flame. Oh, it was a process. It was a process. I'm not telling you that the name flame is the problem, right? No, I'm not telling naming. Problem is with the naming. I'm telling the problem is with what? How you perceive. You perceive always as what? Entities, fixed entities. A unique entity called flame exists here, but it is not. If you closely inspect, it is a process. Dear ladies and gentlemen, because of this, you always feel this idea, feel as fixed entities. You always keep updating this idea is true. You cannot get rid of this idea from your mind because every moment when you feel entities, you update this idea, it is correct. I mean, it's not what you are doing. This is natural process that happens within you. And because of that, you won't be able to identify as it is, things as it is. You cannot realize the reality through real eyes, not these eyes. You always feel that fixed entities are there in the outside. And because of that feeling that you have, you're always updating. You're my darling. That idea is true. And next time you start, the new consciousness is happening. Okay, what is this? A pen, right? A marker. A marker is an entity. But this is made out of causes, see? And there are millions of causes inside as well. You don't feel it as mixture of causes. You always feel it as what? Entities. I'm talking about a problem that every living being has. And because of this, the stress and anxiety, fear, grief, delusion, aversion, anger, lust, everything manifests to this world. Not only stress and anxiety. But how to overcome this? How to get rid of this now? Right? Now I know that. Now you are wondering, yes, Bhante, yes, I can now understand, but how to overcome that? Yes. By showing you this, and by asking you, is there a fixed or is there a mixture? What I did to you? I tapped to this idea. I tapped to this idea. Is it true or not? Because I showed this, right? I showed this and asked you, is it a mixture or is it a fixed entity? And you told me, depends on the way you look. And then you told me, I asked you, what's actually outside? And then you all answered that these are arrangements. By answering that question, what you have done is, you tap to this idea. Now, this idea is something that you have since you were born. Right? Actually, if you believe in past lives, I don't know whether someone might not be believing it, but dear ladies and gentlemen, this is the idea that we had eons and eons in our past lives as well. You are taking this idea and you are with this idea that you are going forward as well. What is the idea? Fixed, unique entities can be observed. But dear ladies and gentlemen, by showing this, by explaining, how about that variable sign, right? 80, 100 is actually not a fixed entity. It's a process. And it's also mixture. Right? It's an arrangement. It's an arrangement. Right? By understanding that, by realizing the truth, by realizing the reality, now I showed you that what you perceive is not what is actually happening in the outside. When you reflect, when you contemplate about this daily, slowly, then you can come out of stress and anxiety. Then you will find a path to liberate yourself from the fear, stress and anxiety. But you will still find solutions for the things that you have to face. Workload, money management. You have to do something. But now your mind is free. You can look into the problem and analyze it and find clear solution. But the thing is, if when you get stressed, when you get the anxious feeling that inside your mind, you won't be able to find a proper solution because now you're stressed, now you're on fire. You want to find a solution and you want to manage it and you don't want to find a proper solution. You patch over it for a short while each and every day. What you're doing is something like that. But dear ladies and gentlemen, that is not a solution. Each and every time that you hide this, sweep it under the rug, right? You will face a lot of other problems. It increases day by day. Today, you have understood that this entity, the idea, is that what you have is wrong. Everything Even now you see this Buddhist library as a one entity, right? Is it one entity or is it made out of bricks and all these are arrangement? Imagine you build a house. The house is one entity or is it an arrangement? Arrangement. How about your vehicle? Your car? The train that you came? The commuter train? Is it one entity or is it made out of all these metals and parts? Yes. But inside your mind you always feel what? That is there, the entity is there, but it's only a perception, the entity. It is not outside. Dear ladies and gentlemen, this is the way to liberate yourself from suffering. Understanding the truth and reflecting about the truth. That is the path to find the happiness that comes within you. But throughout your life, what you have done is trying to find happiness from the outside objects. But there are no objects in the outside. That is the secret. Even though you say, this is a lovely pen. No. There's no one entity here. That's why you never get satisfied. Because what you're seeking is you cannot find from the outside. If you have any question, now you can ask. This is I cannot explain everything, so there are some parts that I hide, right? I didn't talk about that the problem that what happened. So you have huge workload, right? I have to analyze this part as well, whether you have it or not, right? But I didn't talk about that. I talk about this. That's why I told you, Karna, I need at least 3 hours. Actually, yes, my teacher, the first sermon I heard, I listened. It was 5 hours. I listened twice. Because it was so amazing. And wow, I didn't look at that. I didn't perceive this world as it is like this. I want you to understand this, because I feel that degree of happiness that comes within me. I want you to feel. Because I know one thing, suffering is the mother of wisdom. Suffering is the mother of wisdom. If you know that you are suffering, then you are now trying to find a way to liberate from that suffering. That is the path to happiness. Understanding the reality. Realizing the reality through real lies, about the real lies that you have been indoctrinated in your samsaric journey. I want you to understand this. If you have any questions, you can ask. Thank you very much for listening.